This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Veer Das is in the studio making us proud all over the globe. What's up, brother? Good to see you, man.
Good to see
I'm
you,
always
man.
happy to see you. So why would you now title a special called For India? Isn't that quite racist? Is all the material you've been doing thus far not for India? Just say.
I mean, I'll answer that in two parts. Yes, probably very racist.
But I might as well join the boat. Everybody's
know.
being racist. I mean, it's like
It's
the
great.
trend of the season, you know what I mean?
It was time to come home, man. I did two abroad. You know, there was the New York one, there was the San Francisco one. And I just kind of missed home. So I wanted to do one back home. I never shot a special in Mumbai. I've never shot stand-up comedy in Mumbai, in general. So I thought it was time to come home.
Yeah, and you know, it's just crazy because a decade or so, or even more, man. I remember Shanu Sharma, the legendary Shanu Sharma,
Yes.
calling me to Fame Ad Labs at the time, saying there's this really fun comedian, maybe you should come and watch. And I, you know, this was like deja vu. I was sitting in that audience, and you were literally at the precipice of what is the screen of Fame Ad Labs.
Yes,
That
there was
your first
1 foot. You know?
That was literally your first
Yeah,
gig. And
yeah.
I was like, man, for a guy with his first gig, he is ridiculously confident. I mean, I'm sure you were shitting bricks at the time.
Yeah,
you know,
because she had invited at least all the industry she knew at that point, and between the two of us, we didn't know that much industry in any case. And then the Bombay floods had just happened 5 days before that, so everybody was bummed out. But it was a good gig. It kind of kicked things off.
So
for me.
good on you, man. I mean, you just kept at it, and you continue to keep at it, which is fabulous.
yeah.
So we're going to come to the material, but I'm just going to start with the frills first. I quite like the fact that you have one entire column of non-Indians. Pray, where did this come from?
Look, we don't exist alone in the ecosystem. At the end of the day, everybody's tuning into Indian culture. We're the largest content market in the world. But it seemed disingenuous to do a special about India just for Indians. So I figured I'll try and explain, because when I do a world tour or whatever, if I'm in Oslo and I'm doing a joke about a chudail, I have to explain, na, ye chudail ye hai, Delhi mein andheriya mode mein milti hai, etc., etc. And I'm like, if I'm doing that anyway, I might as well have them there visually, put them on camera, and prove that I can make them laugh with Indian culture. So they're up there, and you can see them, and they're very well lit. You know, it's white people in red light.
I mean, you could have still spread them out in the audience, but to segregate them and put them there, I thought it was a great idea. But
Yeah.
what was in your mind?
In every section, whether it's the book section or the movie section or the tragedy section, I have to explain context. And I thought it was a really good visual trick to say, okay, when the lighting changes and the red light comes on, he's talking to the rest of the world. And he's explaining our culture to the rest of the world. But you have to keep in mind, half of this stuff I just kind of think of, and I say, yeah, maybe it'd be fun if we do that. And then somebody at my company makes it happen. And then on the day, I'm like, oh, we're really doing this. So that's kind of how it happened.
Also, I like that the seats are actually lit from down below.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
which actually looks quite groovy, Veer. You know, if you look at it.
There's no. I mean, look, I'm happy to be the idiot in the story at any time, right? And that's what any comedy special is about. It's 9 stories where I'm the idiot in the story. This show's about India. You know, it's kind of a love letter and a hate letter and all of those things to our country. So, usually in a comedian special, the audience is not visible. You'll notice that, right? You see them, or you'll cut to them for the big laughs. Here, as a director, the one thing I wanted, I was like, I don't want a single shot that does not have Indian people in it, that does not have the audience in it. So they're brightly lit, they're front and center. I can shake hands with the first guy, and I have no swag. Like, I've got no stage, I've got no bright lights, I'm just kind of sitting on a doorstep drinking chai. So to try and come to it from a place of we're in this together, humility kind of a thing. You know, at least that was the shooting approach of it. So you see the people, and if they're laughing at a joke, they're laughing, and if they're deeply uncomfortable, you can see that on camera too.
So,
yeah.
you know, there are two ways of approaching this. I'll tell you why. I mean, like, all these podcast guys are coming to me and saying, let's do it. It's a new big thing, you know. Radio's fine. But and I say, what do you want me to do? And they're like, the same stuff you're doing on the radio. And I'm
Exactly.
like, why would I do the same stuff I'm doing on radio? I'm sure you go through that dilemma every day of your life. People coming to you and say, let's do Veer Das. But then you still manage within that to try and do different stuff, which I think is kudos to you. On the platform that cannot be named,
Yes.
since you're on a Netflix show now. There was another one which is about travel,
Yes.
you know. So Do you sit with the team and say, man, what is the new Veer Das we can bang out this time around? Yeah.
Well, I mean, for this one specifically, look, a broad understanding. I like thematic specials. I don't. There's enough 1 hour comedy specials where a guy makes you laugh for 1 hour. I like there to be a certain cinematic.
Yeah, and you've always done that.
And I've done that, right?
Yeah.
But
The
I like
history
that.
of India, this, that, yeah.
You know, I like there to be a theme. A broad understanding was between New York and India, and it was an edited cut special. Losing it was a proper American San Francisco special. This one is the toughest damn thing I've ever had to write because it's not about me, you know. And also, it's usually if you're writing 9 stories, one story doesn't work, you can cut it out. I can't cut out the Taj Mahal on this one. I can't cut out the satanic verses. I can't cut out Dil Chahta Hai. So it has to be there. So when all of that came together and I was like, okay, I'm doing a show about India, I kind of put the format in place to bind myself to the writing. So it's more of a, you know, tying my own hands and making it difficult for myself so that I actually deliver on the writing. So that's how I approach it. It's not should it be different, should it be this thing, etc. Just how can I make life difficult for myself? So I'll take away my stage, I'll take away my swag, I'll take away my fancy suit, I'll take away my own personal material that I get to rely on, and I'll put the audience right there. You know?
What's in that chai ka kullad? Is it tea that you sip? Is it water that you sip? Is it substances? I'm just saying.
It is. It begins with tea for the opening shot of the episode. Then it goes into something called throat coat. Throat coat is like a herbal tea or whatever that I just to keep your voice going because I do 2 hours, man. And then after that is whatever at the end.
But your portion size is well controlled.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
But and also the fact that here is this door that you're sitting in front of.
Yeah.
A substantial bar, and I think they've used that for the promo also, which is about the bull and the darwaza.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting metaphor for everything that you try to achieve as far as India is concerned. But what really is on the other side, bro?
There's nothing on the other side. There's my spot boys on the other side saying, "क्या कर रहा है? अभी 2 घंटे के लिए बके जा रहा है." That's it. Slight Truman Show influence on it. You know what I mean? Where I was hoping this is a doorway to India metaphorically or whatever. Truth is this: my whole set cost 7,000 rupees, and comedians we spend all of this money on these huge sets and flashing lights, welcome, mera swag, mera style. And then it's just the jokes, no? At the end of it.
Yeah.
You could do comedy on a wooden box. It doesn't matter. So I feel like it symbolizes India. You will see that door anywhere in India.
Yeah.
You know, it was just kind of nice to sit down. I wanted it to feel like a guy came out of his house, sat down on his doorstep and told you about his country over chai. You know, that's the vibe.
One of the things that I've always liked about you is you don't feel it necessary to be funny man wherever you are.
Yeah.
You know, in the sense, you see all these comedians who, even when they are having a conversation with them and regular stuff, they feel the pressure to be funny.
To yuck you up. And,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, you're just easy and you say that's a job. You know, I'm not necessarily funny all the time.
I'm not funny at all.
I can be Veer Das serious. I can be whatever conversation.
Sir, funny होना है तो पैसा देना पड़ेगा. I charge ample money for funny.
So, the team of writers that help you do this, you know, on stage, for this special in particular for India, who are the guys behind the scenes?
I write my own stuff. So
all of it is you,
every single word. So the entire, you know, on Destination Unknown, which is a travel show, we'll have writers on that. On this one, if it's me doing stand up, I've written every single word. So this took, it took about 5 months of writing, man, and researching. So yeah.
This is crazy, dude. So it could be on an airplane, on your phone. It could be anywhere, or do you do what writers do, which is sit at a laptop and that discipline of writing?
Man, for this one I had to because it's like, let's say we're talking about Chyawanprash. Right now, I've committed to the fact that the first 4 things that we talk about in the special are Chyawanprash, Old Monk Rum, Fair and Lovely Cream, and Parle G biscuits.
All icons.
But sahi hai na, at any age, at any point, whether you're millennials, whether you're Dadaji, whether you're Gen X, like whatever you are, you know these 4 things about India. And I kind of wanted to ease you into the special with 4 very relatable things because you've seen the show, you know it gets pretty real later on in life. So I thought I'd get you on my side up top with nice sweet biscuit jokes. But because I can't cut Chyawanprash out if it doesn't work, I have to write 10 minutes of jokes about Chyawanprash so that I can get 3 good minutes about Chyawanprash. So if you ever try to write 10 minutes about Chyawanprash, that's a task. You know, you're going down an internet rabbit hole just about Chyawanprash, and then about Old Mankram, and then about Parle Ji. So that took a long time.
I've gotten bragging rights because last night, we were bringing in a friend's birthday, and because I was lucky enough to get the screeners, and I don't want to do this read Wikipedia on Veer Das and do interview. I found out stuff, man. That stuff about General Dwyer's family?
Yeah, man.
Man, so what I mean by bragging rights is I actually told this story at the party. Of course, I took credit for it.
It's absolutely fine.
But that's true, eh?
It is absolutely
That's what you
true.
mean by writing it. I mean, you've got to verify the facts.
Well, some facts.
Our
Our government isn't verifying facts. Why do comedians have to verify facts? Come
Neither
on.
is the national newspaper.
Neither is the national newspaper. Yeah. So, Hrishi, you have to realize this is probably my last interview. Like, this comes out on Republic Day. I'm probably going to jail the next morning. So we shall see.
No, brother, they don't listen to English radio stations.
You don't know, man. Or at the very least, I'm getting sued by our national newspaper. वो तो होने वाला, I think. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. And they always have to resonate with you necessarily, or it can be just other stuff. I mean, do you necessarily have to have enjoyed Old Monk or a Parle Ji biscuit, or can you just write about stuff?
I don't think it's very easy to write about stuff that isn't connected to your soul in some way. It's tough because I'm a mutt, you know what I mean? I'm this guy who is Indian, but I grew up in Africa. And then from Africa, I did boarding school in India. And then from there, I went to Venki and Delhi Public School. But then I went to America for college, and I stayed there for a long time. So I'm this kind of outsider breed, right?
Why did your parents do this to you?
I don't know.
Was your dad a diplomat or something?
My parents were just always like, we are here, let's put him somewhere else. And I think that's best for all of us. But even today, I'm perpetual outsider who's working in every industry. I'm too indie for Bollywood. I'm too Bollywood for indie. I'm too comedy for rock. I'm too musical for comedy. I'm too Western for Indian audiences. And I'm too Indian for Western audiences. So at some point, you kind of realize I'm never going to be able to write for a particular audience. So I just have to kind of write the stuff that I like and hope to God that they come along. You know, I know a lot of people don't care about the Jungle Book on Doordarshan. And I know a lot of people don't care about, 20 Saal Baad, the movie. But I'm hoping I can get you there. I can
Or
get you
Amar
to
Akbar
get.
Anthony.
Or Amar Akbar Anthony. I think we all care about Amar Akbar Anthony and Dil Chahta Hai. So, the weird thing is when I was researching this show, I was talking to... I took over Kaku Club. And I was like, there's not enough millennial stuff in this show. So I sat down millennials and I was like, what's your movie? Because for me, it's Dil Chahta Hai. And they all said Dil Chahta Hai.
Wow. And they knew Jungle Baat Chali Hai, Pata Chala.
They knew all of that stuff. But I was like, do you have this movie that changed you, right? Is it Wake Up Sid? Is it Ye Jawani Hai Diwani? Millennials of today were like, it is Dil Chahta Hai. And since then, it's not really happened. Zindagi Na Mile Dobara, which is high budget Dil Chahta Hai. At some level. So yeah.
So man, how the West was won by Veer Das. I mean, there is Priyanka Chopra, and then there's you. So, being on the Conans Show, I mean, a matter of incredible pride for all of us. Just watching you there on that show. Being on primetime American television. Did they treat you well?
They treated me really well until the end. Everything was going damn well. The show was going damn well. I looked good. Aisa acha suit tha. I bought new shoes. And if you know me, I'm not a dress-up kind of a guy. So new shoes for me is very big deal. You also know me to be 5'8.5". And they shot me slightly low angle. So apun mast lag raha tha. Aisa tall lag raha tha. And then Conan came and stood next to me. And he looked like Gandalf and I looked like Frodo. Because Conan is 6'7". And the weird thing is, what I like on that show is, there's a tradition that Johnny Carson used to have, which is if the comedian was good, he would invite him to the couch. So you'd never, so it'd be like, come on, he'd come get you, come sit down, and you'd receive your final applause on the couch. And
otherwise, you're home from there.
You go back behind the curtain. And pretty much every major talk show host, from like Kimmel to Fallon to Leno to Conan, has followed that tradition. So I got invited to the couch. My first time out. He was like, that was fantastic. Come sit down with me on the couch. So, knowing that lineage of what it means, that was really, really happy. But it's the most terrifying thing you can do. Because that late night set, it goes out to so many people. Yeah. If you do well, your life changes. and if you don't do well, you're done. Khatam. Pack your bags, go home. They shoot it at 3:30 in the afternoon. So you go out, it's 4.5 minutes. 1 minute in, you're in this zen-like state. So you don't even know if it's going well or if it's not going well. And then it comes out at 11:30 at night. So from 4:30 to 11:30, you're just wondering, is my career over or is it taking off? It's terrifying to do.
And it certainly has taken off.
That's what, yeah, that and the first Netflix special kind of changed everything.
And what is this about you playing a CIA agent on an ABC show?
I did it last year. I played Jed Datta, dapper suited CIA Indian assassin on Whiskey Cavalier. And then on the 24th, I come back to ABC with Fresh Off the Boat. So I'm doing an episode of Fresh Off the Boat.
Which is the Orientals in America.
In the Orientals in America, but now they meet an Indian family, which they're developing as a possible show. So I play the dad, and
it's a meaty part. Yeah,
it's the star, and Preity Zinta is my wife.
Oh, nice.
So like I'm the biggest Preity Zinta fan.
Yeah, totally, man. The dimples.
Yeah, and I met her.
Dil Chahta Hai.
Dil Chahta Hai, there you go. So I met her on set, and I'm like, I love you, and I'm such a fan. But how profoundly disappointing is this for you? You know what I mean? Where you went from Shah Rukh to Amir to Hrithik to this guy as your husband, and she's proper comedy chops, man.
Yeah?
Proper comedy chops. Like,
I'm impressed.
You know, American sitcoms, if you're not funny,
yeah.
you know, you don't make it. And she was just on the ball every line. She's really good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And the Whiskey Cavalier show.
Yeah.
Can we see it somewhere? I mean,
it's I think it's on Colors and it's on the platform that shall not be named. But it only did one season. It's not going to come back for a second.
It's not going to come back.
Yeah.
But good part. You enjoyed it.
Decent part. I really enjoyed it.
So how does this work, man? The agent goes out, gets you stuff, sends you scripts. Isn't there a season where you go and audition?
Yeah, there's a pilot
season,
season, but I think that's now a thing of the past with streaming coming in. So it's all year round.
Wow.
But I think now they touchwood know that I exist in that market. So now it's a little more catered. You know what I mean? Earlier it used to be, we need a man of color for this part, right? So then you'd go into the audition and it's like 5 Mexican guys, 9 black guys, 10 Indian guys, 5 Chinese guys.
Diversity and inclusion.
Diversity and inclusion, right? But now they're like, okay, Veer is this vibe. You know, like the Fresh Off the Boat episode. I was got a call. I was in Montreal at the Just for Laughs festival. And it's created by a guy called Melvin Ma and Rachna Frushbaum. And they're like, they're meeting 3 Indian guys and you're one of them. So will you Skype with them? And I was like, I'll just fly to LA and sit down with them. And we had a 1-hour meeting and I got the part. You know, it's really that simple. But they cherry-picked 3 Indian men that they knew they wanted for this. You know.
Yeah, you know, coming back to the thing about of no fixed address, and you know, you being in the middle of somewhere, the actor Madhavan was telling me pretty much the same thing, man.
Yeah.
He says, you know, I go down south, and people think I'm too Bombay, too North Indian. I come here, and they feel, oh my God, he's a South ka actor.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're stuck in the middle, but then you have to make that your comfort zone, and you've done that. I mean, not by design, it's just happened, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no plan, Hrishi. Let's be clear.
There's no batting like Rahul Dravid.
No, there's...
Except in your comedy, when you get on stage.
I finally found a way to contextualize what being an artist is in my new show. And I say that artists always get a lot of credit for having a plan. We're just jumping from iceberg to iceberg, hoping we pick the one that doesn't sink. And that's really all this career is. And I think for all of us, you know what I mean? In every different art form. So there's no plan as such, man. It's just whatever comes, you know. But if it's nonsense or if it's crap, I'll write a joke about it. At least I have that. You know?
Super stuff. Okay, this is concert season. Katy Perry, Dua Lipa, U2 came into town, which is fabulous.
Yes.
Amit Trivedi's on concert, Arijit is on concert. A concert that you've been to and you've just fanboyed out completely in India, abroad, in the past, now. Do you remember a concert you went to?
Yeah. So I just went to U2. ठीक था ऐसा वो बजाया उनके पीछे स्क्रीन सेवर लगा you know
their reasoning is it's about the music.
हाँ, but they had that Windows 95 backdrop behind. It's basically, it was like U2 but watching Shah Rukh and Kajol and Gerua behind.
So you're saying if they just wanted to get on stage and perform, they could have just done that even without the screen?
No, I feel like Coldplay made it about India a little bit. You know, they're like, we're here, we're present, this is for you. But U2, it was the last show of a very long tour. So they're like, we're here, we have a contract, and we're on a flight tomorrow. Three greatest concerts of my life: Red Hot Chili Peppers. I saw in Chicago. Junoon. Do you remember Junoon?
God.
Alright, so I was 12 years old or 13 years old, and I went to Pragati Maidan. And I saw Junoon, and there was a sandstorm, like a rainstorm
Azadi.
in the middle of the concert, and it was
Sayoni,
fantastic.
yeah.
Sayoni and Khudi, and and Lal Meri Pat, and it was fantastic. And then
There was a sandstorm.
there's just a dust storm in the middle of it, and then it started to rain, and it was just Providence.
Nothing's changed in Delhi.
Yeah. Except now it's toxic. It's a nuclear dust storm. And then I've played a couple of the big music festivals here, from the NH7s to the, and this is my band, Alien Chutney. We opened for Hardwell at DY Patil Stadium. Same stadium where U2 performed, right? And
This was 70,000 teeming millennials.
yeah, so by the time मेरा तो afternoon में था, but I played for 42,000 people. And if you know Alien Chutney, we're like a sweet band that sings about Maggie and man boobs and things like that. And वहाँ पर Hardwell का 40,000 लोग, ready to jump and do the EDM things. And I don't get nervous a lot, like really, really cripplingly nervous. I looked out and I'm like, we're done, we're toast. And we sang one song, and then suddenly to see 40,000 people dance with us, that's my favorite moment on stage.
So that's Kuto, you, and who are the other apprentices?
Kuto, me, Apurva Isaac, his name is Lala, he's my guitarist. Kezad Gurda is my pianist, and Johan Pays is my bassist.
Alien Chutney. Yeah,
Alien
lovely.
Chutney.
A drive that you've been to, you said three. So 1 second. There was Alien Chutney.
There was Red Hot Chili Peppers in Junoon.
And Junoon, yeah. Drive that you've been in India, abroad, that is just so cool. And what would that drive be?
Every year I go to Ladakh and switch my phone off and stay in a tent by the river and just kind of decompress. So I'll get an Enfield. I'm too small for a 500, so I'll get a 350, and I'll drive for 8 days. Every day I'll drive like 9-10 hours a day, somewhere or the other.
Sweet, man.
So that's my annual thing. That's my drive.
We're doing a Valentine's month special called Love Yourself this Valentine.
Arre baap re.
Nothing very deep.
Wasn't that the Bipasha Basu DVD? You remember?
There was one.
This is how retro you and me are. There was a Bipasha Basu DVD, and we all watched it because we pretended like we were interested in yoga.
Correct.
Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, you get trashed a lot. You get trashed a lot on Twitter, dude.
I do. Yeah.
So, how do you survive that? Just tips on loving yourself, man. What is the deal?
Well, I mean, I don't look. I'm a comedian, and I say what I need to say about anybody. So I have to grant other people that privilege as well. Their democracy is the same thing as my democracy. So, by all means, have at me. And if it's funny, I'll reply. Because somebody has to entertain me also, sometimes. For me, I'm never without music in my ears. So that's something that's constant for me. So if I'm working, if I'm driving, it's music. And that I kind of soundtrack my day to get me in the mood that I need to be. So that's how I take care of myself. I do Krav Maga, which is fun. It's just for khunnas nikalne ke liye. You know what I mean? Arre kya? Show flop ho gaya? Chal, Krav Maga half an hour. And that's really good. And I've got finally worked hard, got a really nice home space.
Very nice.
So we've got like a nice ground floor. My bulldog likes it. My wife likes it. House is nice.
So develop sense of humor when in the face of criticism. That's the mota message.
I think so. Yeah, I think you gotta. If you're not smiling at it, what's flashing before your eyes when you go? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, because we tend to now, we've gotten to this whole Western view of my childhood was like that, and it's so difficult to love ourselves.
No, we haven't. Nobody cares about your childhood, man. I'm really, really sorry. We grew up in joint families. In joint families, your two parents love you, and everybody else is dedicated to breaking your spirit.
So when you're on the couch with the shrink, you say, this is India, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I remember this conversation, and I talk about it in my show. My granddad, I live with my granddad because I was thrown out of boarding school and I was forced to live with my grandfather. I was dyslexic. I still am. And I was 16 when I found out I was dyslexic, and I ran to my grandfather and I'm like, Baba, I'm dyslexic. He's like, no, He just refused my learning disorder. And he's like, you're not dyslexic, you are stupid. And that is the houses that we grew up in.
Yeah.
And at some level that builds character also.
Correct.
You know?
It's like the guy in your special with the menu in the restaurant. Yeah.
The uncle, yeah. There's some uncle jokes in this special. I had a journal. The two questions that I love getting on this special, one was, why do you hate uncles? And I'm like, because aunties and ladies and young men and young women have always been cool to me. I've only ever been yelled at by an uncle. And then there's, of course, a nice philosophical question that people ask, which is, we see you trying to speak truth to power. Do you believe it's important for comedians to speak truth to power? And my response is always, no man, that's your job. You're the journo, I'm the comedian. It is your job to speak truth to power, not mine. I gotta make people laugh. That's it.
Veer, such a pleasure as always. Guys, it's on Netflix. It's called For India, Veer Das. Go check it out. And hope to see you soon, buddy. Cheers.
Thank you for having me, man.